Yo, what's up guys, it's Happy Snail. Today I'm going to be measuring Nick Fuentes' front ratios only using FaceIQ Labs. If you want to use FaceIQ Labs, use code Happy Snail. It's going to be the pinned comment. Let's get into the front ratios. Alright, so for the first measurement, we're going to be looking at his first flaw. It's his total facial width to height ratio. So for Nick Fuentes' total facial width to height ratio, his face is 1.24 times longer than it is wide, which indicates that his face is too short. As you can see, his face is a bit too short, looks a bit too compact. It's very feminizing, and yeah, it's pretty clear. Next thing we're looking at is this one eye apart test. So ideally, you want your eyes to be one eye apart. You want to be able to fit one eye in between your eyes. But his are 1.1 eyes apart, which means that there's 1.1 eyes length in between his eyes. So yeah, as you can see on the bell curve, it falls right outside the ideal range on the upper end. So yeah, his eyes may appear too far apart, and this could be caused by the fact that his eyes themselves are too small, or because there's just a large space in between his eyes. But we'll get to that in a second. Next, for his neck width, which is the next flaw, he gets 83%. Which, honestly, his neck looks pretty narrow here, but it could also just be because of the image angle, but he probably does have a narrow neck. It does appear to be narrow. So yeah, 83%, you want it to be a bit more thick. Next, for his midface ratio, which is just the compactness of your midface region. Typically, you want this line and this line to both be the same length, but as you can see, this line is 1.12 times longer than this line, which creates a feminizing, more compact appearance of the midface, which he clearly displays here. Next is going to be his cheekbone height, which is also a flaw. Nick Fuentes has medium set cheekbones, as it says over here. His cheekbones are 71% his midface height, which is a flaw. 81% and above his high set cheekbones. As you can see on the bell curve, he falls out of the range. But yeah, not a horrible trait. It's pretty common to have mid-set cheekbones. Now for his facial width height ratio. Typically, you want this to be from 1.9 to 2, which indicates a compact, dominant midface. But his is 2.14, which means his midface is overly compacted. This correlates with his higher end midface ratio and his higher total facial width height ratio, which all come together to create a total shorter face shape or a total shorter physiognomy, which he represents. And honestly, Nick Fuentes is currently like a really good Bimax candidate, in my opinion, specifically for a downgrafting of the maxilla to create a longer facial appearance. But yeah, now for the next ratio. Jaw frontal angle, outside the ideal. His jaw is too flat, as you can see. It looks too flat. The angle is too obtuse. If it was just a bit more like this, it'd be better. Yeah, this also makes his face actually appear shorter and more block-like. So he just has like a whole mix of just features that make his face look shorter, including his large forehead, actually. So yeah, we'll get to that. Next is ear protrusion angle. I don't care about that. Eyebrow tilt. His eyebrow tilt is actually somewhat of a flaw. Typically, you want this to be around 5 to 13 degrees. His eyebrows are around 14 degrees tilted, which is too upward. And this is kind of covered by the fact that they're very vertically tall. But if you trim them up, it'd kind of be more apparent. But actually, I think he should make his eyebrows less vertically tall. It'd look more attractive on him. Deviation of IAA and JFA. He scores pretty okay on this. So this is the jaw frontal angle, and the ipsilateral alar angle is basically jaw frontal angle, but measured from here, the alar base, to here, the lateral canthus. And you want these two angles to be the exact same. But for Nick Fuentes, there's a deviation of about 4.25 degrees, so it's not exactly the same, but it's not horrible. It's a slight flaw. Next, for his lower lip to upper lip ratio, his lower lip could be a little bit bigger to make his lower lip about at least 1.4 times taller than his upper lip. But it's not too bad. It's not really considered a flaw. As you can see, he scored 9.67 out of 10. So yeah, next for his middle third. Middle third is not a flaw, really. It's actually in the... Yeah, his thirds are in the perfect range, actually, now I look at it. I thought his forehead would be a little too big, but that's actually because he's receding in the corners there. It was an illusion. But yeah, actually his thirds are pretty good. 33, 30, 36, very good. His lower third proportion is also fairly good. It's just below the ideal. This basically indicates how much of your lower third is being dominated by your chin or by your upper lip and your philtrum. And for him, it's pretty balanced, I'd say. I think it's actually in the perfect range. Next, for his ipsilateral alar angle, we already covered this with the deviation. It's in the ideal range, perfectly good. Next, for his lateral canthal tilt, you want your canthal tilt, very known ratio, or measurement, I would say, not ratio, to be 5.5 to 8.2 degrees. He has an average about 5.5. So yeah, very good. Lower third, good. 36% of his total thirds, very good. Bigonial width, 91%. His jaw is 91% the width of his cheekbones, which means that he has a very wide masculine jaw. Very good. Eye separation ratio. This is measuring how far set your eyes are or how wide set they are. And basically it's measuring the percentage of your pupils in comparison to the width of your cheekbones, and you typically want it to be from 45.5 to 47.5%, or 45 to 47.5, and Nick Fuentes over here has a 47% score, which is very good. It's a bit on the wider set end. You can kind of tell his eyes are a little wide set, but it's not bad at all. And his one eye apart test is also a little wide set. So I guess you could say his eyes could benefit from some more PFL, which would mean that his eyes are wider, but because his eyes are on a little bit narrow end. His eyelashes do help cover it up though a little bit. Next is going to be his mouth to nose width ratio, which is excellent. Even though he has a more bulbous nose shape as a feature, his mouth to nose in terms of like the width and the ratio is good, and it's caused by the fact that his lips have these little creases here, maybe because he's smiling a little bit, but we'll give it to him, and it make his nose more proportionate in terms of his mouth width. Next is chin to philtrum. Typically you want your chin to be 2 to 2.5 times larger than your philtrum, and his is in the perfect range, which means his chin is at a perfect size. Next is going to be his eyebrow low settedness. As you can see, he's in the perfect range. Nick Fuentes has low set eyebrows. He has a pretty good eye region overall, actually. Now for his eye aspect ratio, you typically want your eyes to be 2.8 to 3.6 times wider than they are tall, and he has 3.3, which is very, very good. Excellent, actually. Next is going to be bitemporal width, which is measuring the width of your temples in comparison to your cheekbones, and he has 90%, which is perfect in the ideal range, exactly where you want to be. But yeah, anyways, so Nick Fuentes gets a 6.23 out of 10. Of course, for his front profile, I don't need to go over side for this. I feel like it's relevant for people who care about Nick Fuentes. But yeah, he gets 6.23 out of 10. Pretty good score, actually. I'd say if you got a bimax, if you got a downgrafting of the maxilla, and if you were to get a rhinoplasty, and if you were to trim up his eyebrows, possibly dye them, he would ascend really, really hard. He would probably pass the low 7s pretty easily, I'd say. But yeah, if you guys want to use the tool I use here, FaceIQ Labs, check it out in the pinned comment. You can use my code HappySnail. Yeah, thank you for watching.
Watch your cry, watch